Hello, and today we're going to cover 5 things I hate about my A3 2017. First thing is active lane control. Now, active lane control is a feature that uses a camera that follows the white lines on a road or a motorway to keep you in lane and gently steers the steering wheel, which is brilliant on like a long trip because it takes a bit of the stress away. That's fantastic. But what it does have a tendency to do, when they change the lanes in roadworks and they blacken over the white lines that were there previously, it tends to try and follow them lines, so it can end up pulling you out of lane. Not right out of lane, because obviously they gradually change where they used to be. So the white lines are going that way and the black lines, the previous white lines, are just gently going that way. It does tend to get confused and try and follow that lane. Now, if you don't know A, that them black lines are there, and B, that the car does that, it can be quite unnerving because the steering wheel will start to pull over to the left or the right, whichever way them black lines tend to go. So yeah, it's not great. If the lines are not there, then it works great. If they are, you have to know they're there and you have to get ready to counteract the steering. The second thing, and one of the most annoying things, is previously I had a Golf GTD. On there you get a standard folding mirrors that fold in and out when you lock the car and unlock the car. I have opted the folding mirrors on this Audi, but what they do is they don't open out until you start the engine or turn on the ignition. So when you lock the car, you know that the car is locked because the mirrors go in. But when you unlock the car and say you're getting something out the car, you can open the door, shut the car, and the wing mirrors stay shut. And so you're not quite sure whether the car is locked unless you consciously lock it, because the mirrors are in. Whereas on the Golf, unlock was open, lock was shut. And also, if you parked up on the side of the road and you're waiting to pull out, you have to literally wait till the mirrors pull out after you've switched the ignition on before you can actually either reverse out of a spot or pull out of a side lane. So yeah, it can be a pain in the bum. It's not in the long scheme of things, in the grand scheme of things, but every day if you're in and out the car, it can get a bit like tedious. Third thing, and this is going to sound ridiculous, until you've been used to it and not used to and don't have it, it gets on my nerves big time. In the Golf GTD, where the light is behind the light, let me just show you. So here, there used to be a compartment for sunglasses. So you used to click a button, you used to come down, you used to put your sunglasses in there, and then click it up, and that's your sunglasses done. Stops them from going all over the place. Also, when you get in the car, you know exactly where they are, and where you're going to put them when you finish with them. Now, the Audi doesn't have this. Kind of know why it doesn't have it, because obviously lane tracking, this car has a traffic sign reading as well. Yes, so the camera goes in there. Obviously the Golf didn't have that, so that has the space for that, but this doesn't. So you're constantly having to stick your sunglasses on you know, where the cups go, which then if you've got something in, it has to go behind. If you accelerate or pull out quicker than normal, they fly all over the place. You end up on the floor. So you take them off there, you put them on the passenger seat, somebody sits on them and breaks them, or you put them on the passenger seat and then they fall off over the edge, and then you forget where they are and you lose them. It's just a pain in the ass, to be fair. And one thing I do miss about my Golf is that it just, even though it was simple, just a simple compartment, it's a pain in the bum. Yeah, you can put them in a glove compartment, but again, you know, if it gets sunny and you're driving and then you want to get your glasses, whereas the Golf is just here to reach over and get inside the glove compartment, it can be a pain in the ass. And yeah, it gets on my nerves, to be fair. And I really do miss that. Number 4 is an absolute nightmare. It's where the gearbox, the S-tronic gearbox, which is brilliant, but when it's in normal mode and you put your foot down, it literally hangs on to that first gear as long as it can. And with diesels, obviously, once they reach a full rev range, they top out, they have a flat spot, but it doesn't let the gear change. What you have to do is quickly take your foot off and then put it back on, so it'll register the drop in the revs and then change up to second. And so it will be screaming its head off, and you literally till the very last minute, and then it will change up. And also you lose that power band because obviously the engine has peaked. So rather than changing up, revving up, and changing up, revving up, therefore gaining more speed, it revs up to the highest, and it just stays there for about what seems about a minute, but obviously it's not that long. It's probably about 20 seconds, but it can be a nightmare. It sounds terrible. It sounds like strangling the engine. And obviously when you're out on the road, everybody looks, as opposed to, because obviously diesels don't sound as good as petrol engines. They don't emit the same sound. They can be quite rattly. If you're revving a diesel engine at full pelt, and you don't change up, it can just sound terrible. The fifth and final thing, the worst thing about this car, and all cars, I had it on the Golf and I had it on, and I've got it on this, is the auto stop. Now obviously when you have got a manual, it's slightly better, because if you're still in gear, then it waits till you drop down to second and first, and then as you come to a stop and then you put your foot down, it'll wait, and then it will cut out. The automatic, sorry, it just cuts out at every chance it's got. If you're rolling up to a junction and you're gonna go, it will just cut out and stop. If you slowly pulling up to a parking spot, it will just cut out and stop, and you have to restart it, and literally it can catch you off guard. If you're gonna come up to a filter junction where the traffic is coming the other way and you're gonna go that way, if you slowly creep up to then accelerate to go round, the engine will just cut out, and it's a nightmare. You're literally left with no engine, no power. You then have to press the accelerator, rev again, and then set off. It's a nightmare. And sometimes I know you can switch it off, and that's fine, which I always do. I always switch it off. If you start the car in the morning and you go out, you literally forget to turn it off, it can catch you off guard. It literally will just shake you, and you think you get caught out. Literally get caught out, and it's just the worst bugbear I've ever got. You should be able to, in my mind, opt out of having it on the car, as opposed to be switching it on and off. Just opt out and not have it on. Maybe it's an emissions thing, and the manufacturers put them on to meet emissions. I don't know, probably it is that, European cars, but honestly, it's just the worst bugbear. I had it on the Golf. I had a Golf GTD manual, and I had a Golf GTD automatic before the manual, and yeah, it was just a pain in the ass. It works better on manuals than it does on automatics, because it literally will just cut out at any time that you come to a slow stop or you're crawling. It will cut out, and it's just a nightmare. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I do love the car, obviously, and a lot of the things that I've mentioned, apart from the auto stop, the sunglasses, they are brilliant. pieces of technology, but they do have the faults. And even though, yeah, the first world problem faults, and I can deal with them, obviously, when you drive the car on a day-to-day basis, they tend to niggle you and get on your nerves, and yeah, you just get rubbed up the wrong way with them. But yeah, the next video will be 5 things that I like about my Audi A3 17. So I'll see you in the next video.